I absolutely loved this film. I've not stopped thinking about it pretty much since I left the cinema last night. So, definitely a movie that I was excited to provide my thoughts on. So, with that, let's go ahead and jump into my review of Alien Covenant. So, this movie, the opening scene, really, I think, was fantastic at setting the tone for the entire film. I was intrigued by the whole exchange between David and Wayland. As you can see in this photo here, the color white is obviously prominent in this shot, and I feel as if it's almost a representation of heaven, hinting at the creationist or creationism tones throughout the film. And I think that this scene is particularly important because David, per the conversation with Wayland, he comes to the realization that he is actually superior to Wayland in the fact that he cannot die. So he has, the fact that he has longevity is something that allows him to have a certain power over mortal men. So I think that scene was really cool with just giving additional insight into the character of David and kind of how his abilities are perhaps more than what his creators originally had intended them to be. So I thought that was a fantastic introduction to the film. So after this scene, we transition into the Covenant, so the spaceship, and all of the crew members as well. So I like the premise. I mean, it's not something that we haven't seen before. It felt almost Star Trekian, so to speak. We've got a crew going to colonize a new planet. They receive a signal from a planet that is a lot closer than the one that they had originally intended on going to. I believe they're about 7 years out from 7 years and maybe 3 or 4 months out from the planet that they were aiming for. So, due to an incident, they actually kind of all are awoken from the cryogenic sleep and ultimately decide to go down and check out this planet. Now, I really enjoyed the whole discovery part of the characters traversing the new planet. It definitely reminded me of the Lost World Jurassic Park almost. We've got these characters in a strange new land, kind of checking everything out, and they start to notice some weird things, like there's no birds and there's no animal sounds and things like that. So you kind of see this whole new world unfold. Eventually, the aliens, the small creatures, start to reveal themselves and are attacking the crew members. They're starting to grow inside them and things like that. Eventually, we get to meet or get reintroduced to everyone's favorite cyborg from the previous film in the sequence, Prometheus. I think that this was a really cool scene where David rescues the crew members of the Covenant. It's almost, I guess, a role reversal, as David had previously been, a helper. His I guess his role was to assist, and he was not seen as a superior, someone that was admirable by any means. The humans obviously were thought to be better than him, and now all of a sudden we've changed where he is kind of the leader, the one in control, and he's the one passing the knowledge down to the crew members as they need him, in their time of need. So I thought that was really cool to kind of see the character of David return in, I guess, in this fashion now, 10 years later. So I thought, yeah, he was fantastic. He was by far the best character in the entire film, in my opinion. So we learned a little more about Dr. Shaw. She was a character that I really liked from the Prometheus film. We kind of get to learn her fate, which I know the majority of fans had wanted this film to be about her travels with David, going to the engineer's home planet. Now we do get to see kind of how that unfolded as well, with David basically laying waste to the entire planet. I know a lot of fans didn't love that scene, but from my perspective, I thought it was fantastic. It was such a power move of David, pretty much coming in and literally wiping out an entire species within seconds or minutes. I thought that really, I guess, transformed David into the ultimate protagonist of the film. Obviously, as pictured here, we do get into the xenomorph and some subsequent action and killing with the alien, but I really think that David's character was the ultimate protagonist, and the way that he was cunning and tricked the crew members and everything, I thought was really extremely well done. And I think there was a lot of subtle tones throughout the film. We have life and creationism and all of these themes that are present. And I thought the film did such a fantastic job examining all of those. David and Walter, their interactions, all of those scenes. Fassbender did such an incredible job, playing those dual roles together. So he was definitely a highlight of the film for me. So yeah, overall, I think that this film is just probably one of the better ones in the entire series. Truthfully, it is probably one of the better films that I've seen in quite some time. So I was very, very, very impressed by this film. Excuse me, I can't wait to see where it goes from here. I'm so intrigued by the David storyline. At this point now, he's in control again of this ship with 2,000 passengers on it. So you just see him kind of start taking control of humanity, and like I said, it's such an interesting dynamic and such an interesting change. Do you see his character go from almost like a servant or butler, or just assistant robot, so to speak, to now all of a sudden destroying worlds and taking over a ship, and now they're traveling to another world, and we're just not sure exactly what he's going to do next. And yeah, it's fascinating. I was blown away by this film. I thought it was absolutely incredible. I would highly recommend it to fans of science fiction, fans of horror, even though it wasn't particularly scary, at least in my opinion. I still think that if you like isolation films, sci-fi, good movies with good themes that are analyzed and all of that, you would definitely love this film. And I'm gonna go ahead and give Alien Covenant a 9.9 out of 10. So like I said, one of the better films I've seen in quite some time. Go ahead and check it out. And always, thanks so much for watching.